I really wanted to address today the fact that it is so difficult living in this world when you're a sensitive soul, like myself. I am such a sensitive girl. I am literally born and bred that way. I've always been so sensitive. I cry at everything. I get overwhelmed and overstimulated very, very easy. And I feel like I'm just always misunderstood by everyone around me. And I think we hear a lot of people say like, oh, you're just being too sensitive, like, oh, just get over it. But those things are really not helpful when you are actually born this way and this is the way that you are programmed to be. It's really unhelpful when people are like, oh, well, just calm down, just don't think about it. Like, thanks for that. That's not going to help me, but I will bank that anyway. Also, I've had my hair done. I am a blondie again. I've always grown up knowing that I'm sensitive, and I think growing up I've always had a lot of negative connotations around the word sensitive. Ouch. And I really thought it was a bad thing. I thought it was like a character flaw that I was a sensitive person, because no one else really around me, like, I do have a very sensitive family, but in different emotionally unregulated ways, but we will go into that into a different video. But like, I think growing up and seeing people just kind of get over things and people just being able to go about their day-to-day life when something really big and traumatic had happened and act like nothing had happened, I'd always be so confused, because I'd be like, do you not need time off? Do you not need time to process this? Like, when I went through a breakup, I genuinely didn't feel like I could leave the house at all. I mean, I did, and I went to work, but that was not to say that I went to work and did a good job, because I didn't. I would go to work and I would just basically cry all day because I was so emotional about it. So I've always been a bit like perplexed at how people seem to get over things so easily and just get on with life. Because I feel like being called sensitive was kind of something that was, I don't want to say demonized, but it was something that you didn't want to be. You didn't want to be the sensitive person, because that just meant that like you couldn't take a joke, or you were just like a delicate little snowflake. Like, you didn't want to be known as a sensitive person, especially growing up in a small town where everyone is kind of like, they've got this bit of a tough bravado, but like, that just wasn't me. I feel like my whole life I've been trying to morph into somebody that I'm not and try to pretend that I don't care about things when I do care so deeply about literally everything. I can't even watch the adverts on TV, you know, where it's like dying donkeys or something, or like donkeys with disabilities, something like that, where the donkeys are in need and they've got like a single tear in the eye and the fly is like buzzing around the eyeball. I can't watch it. I have to completely change the channel, because I don't want to deal with the emotions that are going to come up from me watching that whole advert. Now, I say that like I watch TV. I actually don't think I've watched TV in fucking years, because who watches TV nowadays? I mainly watch YouTube and Netflix. But besides the point, I would always be the person who'd be like, oh my god, get the controls, I can't watch this advert. I just didn't want to be known as a sensitive person, so I've always tried to like pretend to be this like cool girl, and this girl who's just very unbothered, doesn't really care about fuck all, because apparently that's cool. And for a lot of my life, I felt very uncontent with who I am, and I've had a lot of issues with like my self-love and self-worth and self-acceptance along my adult years. I feel like I've kind of got to the point now where I'm very accepting and loving of myself, but that did not come overnight. Like, it took a whole journey, and it took like basically a whole lifetime of me having to affirm to myself that I'm fine and I'm not crazy and I am normal, even though I am a little bit more sensitive than other people. I feel like me trying to pretend that I wasn't sensitive for a lot of my life really did lead me to have a little bit of an identity crisis, because I genuinely just didn't know who I was at all. And to be honest, even up until this day, like, I feel like I'm a lot more rooted in who I am now, but obviously like we don't know everything about ourselves, so I'm always constantly changing and evolving, and I am very multifaceted. I like a lot of different things, but like, I think growing up I was really fucking confused of who I was, because I was just trying to mold into whatever was acceptable at the time. I would try to ebb and flow with like the fashion trends and all things like that, and it just didn't do anything for me. I feel like when you are just trying to morph into other people, you just blend into the background, because everyone is like that. So over the past like year, I feel like I've really truly embraced my sensitive nature and my sensitive side, and I've stepped a lot more into my authenticity, and I feel like I have become so much more magnetic, and so many more blessings have come to me since stepping into my authentic self. It truly has been groundbreaking. Like, it has changed the game for me in just the way everything seems to happen in my life. I'm not saying that I don't have my bad days. I feel like a lot of my videos are me documenting my fucking bad days and moaning about it on the internet, but I feel like as a whole I don't really address like the good things that happen as much. But like, good things happen, open. And I feel like I'm a very magnetic person, and I do think that's because I am truly and authentically myself now. I don't try to water myself down to fit into other people's standards or expectations of me. I just don't do it because I don't have the strength, I don't have the energy. I'm reading a book at the minute and it's called Sensitive, and it has really rocked my world. It's really just validated me in a way that I've never felt validated before. It's so good. If you guys want to read it, it is literally just called Sensitive. It is such a good book, and it made me realize like a lot of little micro things that I didn't really understand about myself. It actually made them make a lot of sense. So I am a very easily overwhelmed and overstimulated person, and I think it's very common to be overwhelmed and overstimulated in the world that we live in because it is chaotic. There are so many things going on. There are so many options of things that we can do. There is so much access to things that can bring us different kinds of pleasure and feelings that it just gets a bit much sometimes, and it gets a little bit overwhelming. So I feel like that's pretty normal, but like I feel like it affects me in ways that I don't see that it affects other people, and I don't know whether other people just hide it well, but like I'm talking like the people who I'm really close with, and I know like they couldn't put on an act all that time, if you know what I mean. So like I get very overstimulated all the time, literally all the time. Like when I went to Thailand with my boyfriend the last time, I just noticed like how different he is to me, because I truly need a lot of time to rest and recharge by myself. But on holiday, I didn't really get that because it's all go, go, go. You're constantly doing things all of the time. So I just noticed like how he just constantly had energy and he constantly was able to do things. And I was just like getting so upset over tiny little things. And I'm not gonna lie, I did feel a little bit crazy. I felt like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? Why am I so upset about the fact that I can't have my breakfast that I usually have at home in the UK? If you all know, I have a set breakfast that I have every single morning, even though I had a different breakfast this morning. But I like to have a good, balanced, nutritionally dense breakfast in the morning because it really sets me up for the day. It regulates my blood sugar, and I feel like that's a really important thing for me. And I couldn't have that in Thailand. And obviously after like 2 weeks, I was having a fucking mental breakdown at the fact that I couldn't have that breakfast because I just didn't have the energy levels that I was having, alongside with the fact that I was doing all of these crazy things. I was go, go, go all the time. I was probably consuming a lot more sugar than I usually would, and I'm very sensitive to sugar, which is another thing that can indicate that you are a sensitive person. If you are sensitive to sugar and alcohol, that is another thing that I found out is a trait of a highly sensitive person. So that makes a lot of sense to me. I also get very like triggered by tiny little things. So if things are just a weird texture, or if things just, like say if I've got like scratchy clothing on, that drives me insane, and I could not go about a full day with scratchy clothing on or uncomfortable or weird textured clothing. It would just send me into a spiral. And that is also a trait of a highly sensitive person, and I didn't know that. And that makes me feel so much more normal and not like I'm a crazy bitch for feeling so neurotic about these tiny little things. I'm also very sensitive to smells. Like if something smells bad, I am the first person to smell it. I can't help it. Bad smells really do ruin my day, and they really affect my mood, and it's just not a good thing. It's not a good time. I'm also very, very sensitive to other people's energy. Like I feel like I can feel people's energy, and a lot of the time I do absorb people's energy, which is very, very draining. And recently I'm on the journey of learning how to not do that, because I feel like I'm becoming a little bit more extroverted again. Like I'm wanting to go out more and do more things socially, but in order to do that and also remain sane and feeling good, I have to learn how to not absorb other people's energy, because it is inevitable. If you are a sensitive person and you're going out into the world, it's inevitable that you are going to feel the effects of other people's moods, especially if they're in a bad mood. It's not a good time. Like if someone is in a bad mood or if they're going through something, it's actually quite bad, but like I feel like I take on their emotions as if I'm going through it as well, and it becomes really heavy and a lot to deal with. When I'm spending time with people and they're going through like something difficult in their life, I cannot help but to empathize with them and to feel that emotion as if it is my own and as if I am going through it myself. And I think this was like a big reason that I kind of isolated myself a lot last year year, which I've done a whole video on about. But I really did isolate myself from a lot of people because I couldn't handle dealing with other people's emotions on top of mine. Ooh. Because I myself was going through a lot of things in my life and I just didn't have the capacity to deal with it. But I do think that I dealt with it in a very unhealthy way and just isolated myself, which is not good, and I am not trying to do that going forward. I am trying to change my ways. I'm trying to be a healthier, more balanced person, but it's a journey. So that's something that I'm really having to learn how to do, and it's really difficult, and I don't feel like people talk about how difficult it is, because if you're a human being, you will have this natural inclination to want to be with people or want to have that feeling of community and that feeling of being loved by others and loving others. But sometimes when you're a sensitive person and you are deeply empathetic of other people, it can be a lot, and you can end up isolating yourself because you just can't actually deal with other people's emotions, and it's not good. Another thing that I was reading in the book said that if you're a sensitive person, you might not be able to do things under pressure very well, or you might not be able to do things very well when somebody is watching you. And oh my god, that is me to a T. I feel like I always use this example, but like I can parallel park. I am a good parallel parker. I can do it. It's fine. But as soon as somebody is watching me parallel park, I don't know how to move my limbs. I don't know how to function. I don't know how to do anything. And I think this is why it took me so long to pass my driving test, because every time, like, I knew how to drive. I'd been driving for like 4 years, I think, by the time that I took my first driving test. And I knew how to drive. Like, I literally knew how to drive. I had my own car at that point and I was driving my own car. But as soon as I got into that test, I couldn't do it because the examiner was watching me. Let me know if you guys feel that, because like my boyfriend, I always use my boyfriend because he's like the closest person who I can kind of compare myself to in a way, because he's so different. He is so good at doing things under pressure. It literally makes him thrive to be under pressure, or for me to watch him do something. Like, he can do it great. But like with me, if somebody is watching me do something, I'm like, no. Like, I would rather somebody go past and then I do stuff. Like, I would rather wait and inconvenience myself so that no one has to watch me. It's an issue, and I'm trying to get over that as well. I mean, there does come a level of self-acceptance with certain things. Like, you can't change everything about yourself, but there are certain things where I'm thinking that actually hinders my life a little bit, to not be able to do things under pressure. Something else that I was thinking about is that I always used to feel sorry for people when I was a kid, and like I always feel sorry for people to this day. And I don't know whether this is me being sensitive, or whether this is me kind of projecting onto other people my life experiences, I guess. Because like, if I see somebody, like if I was to see a little old lady, if I was to see a little old man walking down the beach with an ice cream on his own, I would sob. It would ruin my day. Like, it would be so wholesome and it'd be so cute, but it would ruin my day because I don't know how to process that level of wholesomeness and cuteness, and it would make me feel really sorry for the old man. But it's like, that man is probably enjoying his ice cream. He's probably not even thinking that it's a problem. Like, he's probably just going out, enjoying his ice cream and living his best life, and I'm over here fucking crying my eyes out. But I've always felt sorry for people, and it just, I don't know, I just feel like being a sensitive person can feel like such a burden sometimes, because I don't know, it just weighs very heavy on me a lot of the time. And I think that makes me move from a place where I kind of live my life dictated by my feelings and my emotions, which is not good and we shouldn't be doing. But when you have so many feelings and so many emotions, it can feel so neglectful to just ignore them. Like, I really care about myself. I love myself a lot. So when I get a feeling coming up, sometimes I'm just like, oh, I need to stop everything and just pander to this emotion because it needs to be processed. It needs to be seen and heard. But then there gets to a point where it's like, this is ridiculous. Like, you have to get things done. You cannot pander to every single emotion that you have. But it's so hard. And sometimes I feel like, I don't know, sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes I like to just bask in an emotion and let myself feel it, rather than having to be like fucking forced throughout life at a high speed against my will. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to be able to have time to sit and embrace my emotions and feel and process the things that I am feeling. That is what feels right, and that is what feels natural to me. But I don't know whether that's just because I am a sensitive person. I just feel like there is so much stimulus out there. There are so many things going on in this world. There is so much noise in this world. And sometimes it just feels like I can't catch a break. And it feels like I just want to curl up into a ball and have nobody speak to me or see me for weeks on end. So yeah, I feel like it's a blessing and it's a curse at the same time. I feel like it's a blessing in the way that I feel like I am very in tune with other people's emotions. Like people in my life, I'm always the person that people come to for support and advice and things like that, which I love because I feel like that's my purpose and that's my calling. So I do love that. But then it's also a curse in the sense that sometimes it's a lot carrying the weight of other people's emotions and problems. But then I also think that's a me problem. I feel like there is a way to empathize with others but not absorb their feelings completely, which is something that, again, I am working on. A lot of really creative people are actually sensitive people as well. Like a lot of musicians and artists, creatives, a lot of them are sensitive people or highly sensitive people, which I found a lot of comfort in because I do think that I am a very creative person. I do have a creative flair, but it's really unfortunate because I think a lot of my life, that flair has gone unlit because I've just been in the fucking corporate world, trudging through and just trying to get by. And I don't like it. I feel like all of these years that I have been in the corporate world, which is about 8 years now, I feel like it's kind of stripped my soul and my humanity a little bit, just a little bit. Obviously now, since having this awareness, which has been over the past few years, I have made changes in my life so that my day-to-day life is a lot more enjoyable and that I am more so walking in my purpose and not just mindlessly going through my life thinking, this feels bad, but I don't know how to change it, so I'm not going to change it. No. The past few years, I have made a lot of changes in my life and a lot of decisions that have led me up to where I am today. And I feel a lot happier and a lot more content within myself. So that's good. So yeah, as I say, I feel like it has gotten a lot easier for me over the years to deal with my sensitivity. And I just wanted to share with you guys some things that I have done to kind of handle what it feels like to be a really sensitive person in a very, very overwhelming and fast-paced world, because it's a lot. It is a lot. And you will know that if you've watched any of my videos, because I'm always having a breakdown. Always having a breakdown. But it's fine. It's fine. So I feel like the first thing that I did in terms of navigating this world as a sensitive person, not that there was any kind of start date. There was never a date where I was like, right, I am a sensitive person and I need to rectify this. So what am I going to do? It wasn't anything like that. I think I just naturally did these things. The first thing that I would suggest that you should do if you are anything like me and you are a sensitive girl is to accept the fact that you are a sensitive person and not try to be somebody else, not trying to fit into a place where you don't belong, which is something that I did for the longest time. I wanted to be the cool girl. I wanted to be the black cat, mysterious, dark feminine girl. Not that I knew what any of that was back in the day, but that basically embodies what I wanted to be. I wanted to be that person. I wanted to be a Megan Fox of the world. I wanted to be a siren. But unfortunately, or not unfortunately, but unfortunately at the time, that's not me. I am not that girl. I am a golden retriever, but a shy golden retriever with a little bit of anxiety. That's me. That's the energy that I give off. A really caring golden retriever that gets overwhelmed very easily and cries a little bit. That's me. And instead of me framing that as that's a really bad, embarrassing thing, the moment I accepted that that's who I am was the moment that I actually started to live my life. That was day 0 of my life. I don't know, there's just something so freeing about accepting who you are and just living in your purpose and just walking in it and owning it. It just makes life feel a lot better and a lot easier and a lot more effortless and less resistant. I was listening to a podcast. It was Margarita, I don't know what her podcast is called, Being Her. And in one of the episodes, she was saying how authenticity is really important. And she said that you can either be a very shit version of somebody else or you can be the best version of yourself. And that hit home with me so much. I actually listened to that when I was in Thailand the last time, and I was like, that's so fucking true. That is so true. Because why was I trying to be like these other people? Why was I trying to be a cool girl? Like, what does that even achieve? Because no matter how much you try to replicate that, and no matter how much you try to be that person, you're not going to be that person. You're just going to be a very shit version of that person, or a very mediocre, subpar person. And that's not what you were destined to be. You are destined for so much more. There is nobody in this world who can be you as good as you. Like, you are the best version of you, and nobody can top that. Nobody can replicate your energy. Nobody can try to be you at all, because you are you and there are no other yous. So that gave me a lot of peace, because it's very easy to compare yourself to other people, and it's very easy to think that you need to fit into a certain box and be a certain way and not make mistakes and be perfect and be the it girl, be that girl. But like, how boring is that when you think about it? Like, the whole trends of like that girl, it girl, clean girl, all that kind of shit, it's cute, but it's also like, we don't need to be pretending to be somebody else to be that girl. And I think a lot of people on YouTube do talk about like that girl as a mindset, which I very much agree with. I don't think that girl fits into any kind of aesthetic or any kind of like era on TikTok. I think it's just being your authentic self and being the best version of yourself, and not trying to be a carbon copy of other people, and embracing the things that you might think are embarrassing, but they actually make you you, and they actually make you lovable and beautiful and amazing. They're the things that people see in you that is magnetic. Like, they don't even know why they're drawn to you, but it's because of those things. It's because you're being authentically yourself. The moment I stopped trying to be the cool girl, I started attracting so much better relationships into my life. My boyfriend, when I was a cool girl, was very... Do we even go there? I feel like if you're going to be a cool girl, you are going to attract people who expect you to be at that standard all the time. And if you slip below that standard, they're going to run. They're literally not going to give a shit. They don't want to be with you. So like, if you are naturally a cool girl, cool, go for it. Like, that's amazing. Like, I'm so jealous. No, I'm not. But like, it's so much better to be yourself, and it's so much better to embrace who you are authentically, embrace all of the things that are embarrassing and awkward about you, because you are just going to attract so much better, more meaningful and beautiful relationships. My current boyfriend now has had to accept every single little bit about me, and he still loves me. It's such a nice feeling to feel like you are loved unconditionally. You are loved for being exactly who you are, and you're not loved for being this actress trying to be somebody else. So I feel like I just went on a tangent there, but like, as soon as I accepted and embraced the fact that I am a sensitive girl and I'm a sensitive person, and yes, maybe I do cry at the most stupid things, maybe I do get red and start blushing at certain things, or maybe I do get very easily overstimulated and overwhelmed, and that makes me cry. Maybe that's the case, but like, that's me, and that is beautiful. That is what attracts people to you when you are being yourself. Something else that really helped me kind of deal with being a sensitive person was, instead of moping in it and just kind of going about my day-to-day life mindlessly and doing the same things and then feeling really shit but then not really doing anything about it, I started to really channel my sensitivity into creativity and into giving back to the world. When I started this channel, it gave me such a big sense of purpose, and it gave me something to really channel my sensitivity through, and I've never been the same since. Like, I feel like this channel has benefited me in so many ways. I absolutely love it. I love making videos. I love talking with you guys. I love talking about things that I want to talk about with certain people, but they might not understand, but I know you guys get it because you're just great. You're just like me. It is such an amazing and cathartic way to embrace the fact that you are a sensitive person, to actually channel it into something that can help other people. Me talking about this right now and me being vulnerable and opening up about all the kinds of stuff that I open up about on my videos, I know that it helps people, because this is what I want to see. I want to see people talking about things that I'm going through, because it makes me feel like I'm validated. It makes me feel like I'm not crazy. I feel like all my life I've had to convince myself that I am not crazy, because I didn't have this necessarily growing up. I am lucky that I had my early adulthood with the internet to be able to guide me and help me, because I feel like a lot of who I am is because of the books I've read, the podcasts I've listened to, the YouTube creators who I follow. So I'm very grateful about that. But like, I feel like there are certain things, like certain little things that are probably in my shadow self, like things that I'm a little bit embarrassed about, that I don't really see get talked about online. And I think this is what I want my channel to do. Like, I want to be able to talk to you guys about things that are like very vulnerable and very uncomfortable for me to speak about. But I think it's important because if it can make any of you guys feel like you are not crazy, that will honestly make me so happy. It's not nice feeling like you're crazy. It's not nice to feel like you are going through something alone. I think it's nice to have a sense of community and know that we are all feeling the same kind of things. So yeah, having something to channel your sensitivity into is so important. It's so good. Like, helping other people, doing things without thinking about yourself so much and just doing things because you want to help other people. It truly is such a good way to channel your empathy and turn it into compassion. I think as well, it's important to know your body's limits. So knowing when you need to check out of a situation, when you need to just kind of go back home and recharge, or maybe just like have a little bit of alone time, even if you're at work and you feel that need while you're at work and you obviously can't fuck off home. But like, if you just go to the toilets and just sit in there and just have your moment, breathe a little bit, or maybe even just say that you're gonna go for a walk and clear your head, like knowing those cues of your body really does help when you're a sensitive person. Because as a sensitive person, you are processing things on a much deeper level than other people are processing them. So your energy is being depleted so much quicker. Like, your energy is going down like that while other people's is going like that. But your energy is being depleted so much quicker. So you need to do things that are going to fuel you and make you feel good and restored. So for me, when I'm feeling very depleted and I feel like I just need to emotionally regulate myself, if I'm at home, I will do a yoga session or a yoga practice. I will just type in like yoga. I've spoken about this 7 times, but I'll type in yoga for anxiety, yoga for feeling dead inside, yoga for feeling overly emotional, yoga for overeating and feeling sick, whatever it is. I'll just do a yoga session on those things, and guaranteed, like, I always feel better afterwards. And like, not saying that you always have to do something in order to feel better, because sometimes you just need to do nothing. You just need to be with your own thoughts. But yoga has been a saving grace for me. Like, it just makes me feel so good. But it could also be like at the minute, oh my fucking God, I need to show you this. I got a colouring book, right? You guys might know, if you've been with me for a long time, you'll know that I like colouring. And I've not done it in a while. Like, I struggle to find the time to do it. But when I'm feeling very stressed, or when I feel like I'm on my phone too much, I feel like it's the perfect thing to do, to just listen to some like frequency music and get a colouring book out. This is my colouring book. It's from Tesco. But I also got some glitter pens from, it's a TikTok shop. I got it before I deleted TikTok again, and it's called Calm Over Chaos, and she does the most amazing glitter pens. Right, can we see? I feel like you're not gonna see the glitter as much. Like, it's not giving. My boyfriend did this middle one. He's not finished it yet. I don't know, like, just doing things like that. Colouring honestly is so therapeutic, and it's so, like, if you feel like you're a creative person but you don't know how to really like figure out how you're creative, I feel like colouring's just nice because you can just like play about with it. It doesn't need to be perfect. Like, you can just play with the colours, see what makes you feel good inside. Basically, just doing anything that would make your inner child very happy, or things that you enjoyed doing when you was a kid. I feel like that really helps regulate my nervous system, like, a lot. Like, when I think about it, you don't actually need me to tell you any of this because you'll know it already. But like, if you are an intuitive person and you are in touch with your feelings and your body and your emotions, you will know when it's time to just rein it in. Like, if you've had a busy day at the office, rather than coming home and like whacking on Netflix or scrolling on TikTok or going on any kind of social media or watching YouTube videos, rather than doing that, just sit in silence. Like, if you have to listen to something, maybe some like brown noise or rain sounds or something like that, but just being in silence is like the best medicine. And I've felt this more as I've gotten older, but like, I do just feel this immense need for silence a lot of the time. I have spoken so much on this topic. I was meant to just film like a quick video. I was meant to just whack the camera on, film like a 10-minute video. But no, it never works out that way. Like, once I start talking, you can't stop me. Anyway, guys, I am going to meet my friend because I'm in my socialite era. Also, if you guys are watching to the end of this video and if you care, I am moving out. Me and my boyfriend have, well, my boyfriend's put down an offer on a house and it's beautiful. We both fell in love with it. It's amazing. I fucking love it. And the offer's been accepted. The papers are being signed. The documents are being sealed and doing whatever they're doing. And we are getting out. We are getting out finally. And I can't believe it. And I feel like it's been such a long journey. And like you guys know the struggle of me living here and like all of that kind of shit. I'm gonna do a whole video on this, but oh my god, okay, my SD card got full. But yeah, I'm so excited to have a different setup, even though it might not be as cute as this. Like I feel like my setup is really cute. It'll be nice. It's gonna be so nice. And I am so happy to share that news with you guys because I feel like it's been a long time coming and a lot of magical things are happening at the minute. Like a lot of things are just falling into place, falling into alignment, and it's beautiful. And I will talk about it at a later date because I don't want to jinx it or anything like that. But things just seem to be lining up right now and it's amazing and I feel so blessed and so grateful. Honestly, seeing the comments on my last video and seeing the comments on any of my videos genuinely lights up my soul. It makes me so happy to interact with you guys, to know that I'm not the only one going through these crazy emotions. You guys honestly help me so much. And me just making these videos is just so therapeutic and just, I don't know, it heals my inner child. It just heals everything. So as much as I want to help you guys help me so much. You would not believe. Like I just appreciate every single one of you. If you guys want to work with me one-on-one, I do have a link down below so we can just chat. We can have like a little advice session. You can talk to me about whatever you want to talk about. If you've got any issues, if you're having boy problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems. If you're having any like issues, any problems, friend dramas, boy dramas, life dramas, being a sensitive girl dramas, then you can work with me one-on-one if you wish. If you don't want to pay for that, if you don't have the money right now, or you would rather just not, then obviously message me anytime. You can message me on Instagram. I will always reply to you on there. You can comment down below. I'll always reply to you in my comments. I reply to all of my comments. I'm always happy to give out free advice, and like if you ever want a video, then I will film any kind of video request that you have. But that option is there if you did want to work with me one-on-one. If you just wanted to chat or have that companionship or have that just a little bit of a push in the right direction, then that is what those sessions are for. Follow me on Instagram if you wish, and yeah, that's about it. That's all the plugs. But yes, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting me, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.